97.7 QLZ, establishing connection. Live from Sonic Boom.
Day 2 Sonic Boom. We are here with Chris and Ricky from Motionless In White, and it has been it's been a busy year for you guys. A lot of moving parts going on, it seems. Got a new record coming down the pike. Got a new record label. Got a new single out there.
Never ends.
It doesn't, man. So let me ask this, because obviously you guys switch labels now. What goes into that process of deciding, all right, we're moving on to go to something else?
Well, I mean, our contract with our previous label, Fearless Records, was up, and you know, like anyone, whether you're an athlete, a musician, whoever.
When your contract's up, you kind of become that free agent. Well,
Right.
you do become that free agent where you could look into other options, and for us, it was just a matter of determining what we wanted out of a label and which label that was interested in us can offer the things that we were looking for. Pretty standard thing. And when we started discussing or started having conversations with Roadrunner, they seemed to have a lot of knowledge of everything that we wanted. They had the reach, the resources, and on top of anything, they were really great people. That's always the first and foremost thing that we look for, is just to make sure that we're working with people that we like. We don't want to be with a label where the people are, where there's some sort of other interest involved besides the band's well-being and the progression and evolution of the band. So they were really cool, and they wanted to work with us. We felt a really great presence from them, and it just seemed like they wanted the same things as us. So that's the rest is history.
Well, with Phil over here, who's off camera, you got a great guy in your corner, definitely, for sure. So what's the plan right now? We've got, what's the song title? 570 out right now.
Yeah.
What's going to be the plan next for you guys? I mean, is we going to get a single here soon? Do we have the timeline set up? Do we have an album date yet?
No, I mean, all that kind of stuff we've been taking a really light approach to that, where a lot of times in the past, deadlines and things like that have kind of hindered the progression of the music coming together, and we didn't want any of that this time.
Okay.
I feel like giving us the freedom to just make sure that we make the record exactly like we want it to. Whether it takes, we're not going to take 2 more years to do a record at all, but we're making sure that within reason, we're putting the music first, and that's something we haven't really fully done in the past. We've always kind of been under the gun and forcing ourselves to get something done by a specific deadline, and that's just not how we're going to roll this time. So we have a couple songs finished, ready to go. We're going to go back after this tour, and I'm going to do the vocals on the rest of them, and then next year early is when we're going to start rolling everything out. New singles, new
everything.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, looking forward to it. You guys. This is, if I believe correctly, you call this the 10th anniversary of the band.
Yeah. Yep.
You refer to it as the 10th. The progression and the sound of the band has changed a lot over the years. Do you go in with that idea that we're going to change something, or is it just kind of a natural situation when you guys start writing music?
I don't think that it's a forefront in the mind of, hey, we're gonna try and change how we sound or anything. I think that it's starts off more of kind of wanting to experiment and kind of see where those outlets take us, and then we decide what we like from doing that. And I think it took us, we all are kind of under the agreement that it took us up to Reincarnate to kind of find our sound, and once we did, it was like, this is everything we've been looking for this whole time. So yeah, it's definitely not something that we think about. And as for this new record, it's similar to Reincarnate in the sense that there's varying things, varying songs aren't exactly the same.
Right, it's different each time.
Yeah, but it still has the Reincarnate sound. It's still very.
Is it still very driven, very hard?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's stuff.
I see the smile on his face back here.
I think fans will be excited to hear that's arguably heavier than Reincarnate. So
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Now you have me very intrigued right now, because Reincarnate is definitely, when that album came out, that was one of my favorite albums of the year it came out. Like, I was like, all right,
Thank
this
you.
is good. I still listen to it now.
Thank you.
I love it still. So I'm interested in seeing how much harder you can actually get.
Well, you'll see soon.
Awesome, man. Well, okay, so 570's out now. That is obviously going to be on the record. You talked about the sound. That thing, there's a lot of different progressions in that song, tempo changes in there.
Yeah.
So when you're playing that live, is it kind of tough going to go do and then just kind of bring it down a little bit or change the tempos? Because it does. It's like hard, heavy, in your face, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, there's some melody going on in here now all of a sudden.
I don't. I mean, for me, I don't really pay attention to it live, especially. Any song when we play live, it's always, if it's fast paced, it feels like it's the slowest song in the world live. I think just from adrenaline or I don't know, but so I don't notice. I don't know if you.
Well, the first time we ever played it was in Dallas on Warped Tour. That was the first show that we had performed it at, and it was so bizarre because I was recording the vocals up until maybe 2 weeks before Warped Tour on that. And when we finally played it, I was like, wow, this is so slow. Because like recording the vocals, it just felt so rapid and just like, 25 BPM faster than it actually is. And no, it's like, it just took a long time for me to adjust to actually playing it live versus the studio. Because wow, I don't know why it felt super slow, but I mean, it's all good now. Now it feels like real time.
Right. So you guys did the Warped Tour over the summer. Obviously, that thing is just, it's such an interesting, it's become an eclectic tour now.
Interesting is a good word.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. We won't ask for good or bad interesting on that. But you guys are out now with Korn. You're out with Breaking Benjamin. I was reading in an interview, Chris, that you were actually a huge fan of Korn, right? You went out and got a 7-string guitar because of Korn.
Yep. And the Follow the Leader tab book. Yep.
All right, so being now, have you guys toured with them before?
We've only ever done a few shows,
okay.
But yeah.
So now you're touring with them. How's it feel? Is the inner kid in you going crazy right now?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to let the fanboy rage too hard when we're up there. I do want to say my piece of that. This really is a dream come true. I mean, I remember coming home from school, and just when I first started, or when I first got that guitar. All I did was come home from school, and I played from the second I got home till when I went to sleep. Like, I didn't care about homework. I didn't care about once music came into my life and I started learning how to play. Each year of school, I cared less and less and less, and my grades went down. And yeah. So it just became, I was playing drums, I was playing guitar, I was just like trying any and everything I could to learn how to play music. And when I bought that, I think I had the Black Album tab book, I had the Follow Leader tab book, and I actually think I had the Blink-182 Enema of the State tab book. So I learned like every single song out of all those books, and it's really awesome to see where my life is now versus when I was in high school and shit. It's just
coming up from there. Have you had a chance to talk with the band at all? Catch up with them?
Yeah,
a little bit. Did you guys fanboy at that point?
No, I try to keep it cool. I think what helps is that it goes along with exactly how it was with Slipknot last year. We toured with Slipknot in the summer last year. We're touring with Korn this year. All those guys are just they're over the whole like diva rock star thing. If they ever were, then they're not, and I don't think that any of them ever were to begin with. They've all been the nicest people we've ever toured with. On Warped Tour, it's a great tour, but there are a lot of bands that do walk around like it's still high school. There's like we occasionally get looked at like we're still the freak or the misfit of high school, but we're now we're graduated past high school and we went to Warped Tour. I must say that the positives of Warped Tour are like 95% positive, and then there's just those few little things that suck. But with these tours, everyone's here to just have a great time, and they came up to me the other day and they were just talking to me like normal guys, and I don't say that like I was expecting them to not be normal guys, but there's just something so rad about when you meet these kinds of people that, like Corey Taylor, who will just sit down with you and have a conversation. That to me, I tried to say this on stage at Knotfest, but I'm not sure my words were very eloquent because I was in just kind of a weird spot in my head at that show. But that to me is what I view as a true rock star. Someone that's willing to go and just be super cool with the fans, super cool with the other bands. Just go out there and have a great time, and no ego and nothing but just positivity. That's a rock star. And Korn, Breaking Ben, Slipknot, even Randy from Lamb of God on the tour last year. Like, all these dudes are so cool, and it's great.
Well, one of the experiences that I can say that just being around you guys and the times that I've seen you, it's been the same way too with you guys. So it's good to see that they pass it on, and you guys are going to pass it on to the next generation coming down. Looking forward to the new album when you finally decide it's going to come out. getting it all done. Motionless in White. Be on the lookout. New info from them coming up in 2017.